All right, gather round, because this one still gets under my skin. It's a tale about a family, an old house, and a guest who redefined the meaning of unwelcome. It all started in the fall of 1978. The Millers, Sarah, John, and their young daughter Emily had just moved into this Victorian house nestled way back in the woods of Maine. Picture this: a three-story behemoth with peeling paint, a wraparound porch that groaned under the weight of the wind, and windows that seemed to stare out at you even in broad daylight. The kind of place that just reeks of history and maybe something else. John, a writer looking for inspiration, had convinced Sarah that the isolation would be good for them. Emily, bless her heart, was just excited about having a big yard to play in. They got the place for a steal, which should have been their first red flag, right? But, blinded by the romantic allure of the old house, they brushed aside the whispers from the locals about its dark past. The first few weeks were normal. Unpacking, settling in, exploring the creaky corridors. But then, the knock started. It always happened late at night, after midnight. A slow, deliberate thump, thump, thump on the front door. John would cautiously creep downstairs, peering through the peephole. But there was never anyone there. Just the swaying branches of the ancient oak tree casting eerie shadows on the porch. He initially dismissed it as the wind, maybe some animal bumping against the door. But the knocks persisted, becoming more frequent and more insistent. Sarah started having trouble sleeping. Emily, however, seemed oblivious, lost in her world of childhood games and make-believe friends. One night, the knocking was particularly violent. Bang, bang, bang. It rattled the entire house. John, his nerves frayed, threw open the door, ready to confront whatever was out there. Nothing. Just an oppressive silence and a gust of cold wind that seemed to seep into his bones. He scanned the yard, the woods, but there was absolutely no sign of anyone. That's when things started to escalate. They began hearing whispers, faint and unintelligible, carried on the wind. Sarah swore she saw a shadowy figure lurking in the periphery, always just out of sight. And Emily? Well, Emily started talking to someone named Mr. Silas. Mr. Silas wants to play, she'd chirp, her eyes wide and vacant. He says he's been waiting for us. John and Sarah were understandably freaked out. They researched the history of the house, desperately searching for an explanation. They discovered that a man named Silas lived there in the late 1800s. He was a recluse, a strange and unsettling figure who was rumored to have practiced dark arts. He died in the house under mysterious circumstances. The story chilled them to the core. Could it be that Silas was still there, trapped between worlds, trying to make contact? One evening, Emily was playing in her room when Sarah heard her giggling. She went to check on her and found Emily standing in the corner, staring at the wall. "Who are you talking to, sweetie?" Sarah asked. Emily pointed to the wall and said, "Mr. Silas is right there. He wants to show me something." Suddenly, the temperature in the room plummeted. Sarah felt an icy breath on her neck. She grabbed Emily and fled the room, slamming the door shut behind them. That night, the knocking was relentless. It sounded like someone was trying to break down the door. John, armed with a baseball bat, stood guard in the hallway, his heart pounding in his chest. Sarah huddled with Emily in their bedroom, praying for morning to come. As the sun began to rise, the knocking finally stopped. Exhausted and terrified, John and Sarah decided They had had enough. They packed their bags, loaded the car, and left that house without looking back. They never spoke about what happened there for years. Emily eventually forgot about Mr. Silas. But John and Sarah never forgot the chilling feeling of dread, the relentless knocking, and the sense that they were not alone in that house. To this day, they believe they were haunted by the spirit of Silas, a restless entity who sought to make contact with the living, but never quite crossed over. A guest who knocks, but never enters, except into your nightmares. The Millers never found peace until they acknowledged what happened and respected the dark history of the house. Some places are best left undisturbed, some doors unopened.